for another week. Plans for these days off? I was able to flip the frame and stuff before all the suspension got on, but after that, it's way too heavy. Okay, we're starting on some of the brake lines, fuel lines, getting these in. Got the driver's side brake line run. Started fitting in the passenger side fuel lines. And with this mod on the rear gusset, you're gonna have to split the lines. Stainless is, I guess, a little bit harder to do a flare on. So I gotta work at figuring out how to make sure that I got a good flare. It'll be a mechanical pump on the motor for the fuel pump, so it won't be high pressure or anything, but still a gas leak's not good. We're moving on. We'll probably be putting in this front piece, and that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, we got an update. Getting a little farther on running our fuel lines and our brake lines. Got the brake line, fuel lines run back to where the tank is. Got them through where I gusseted the gussets. And this is what I was talking about. These, where I had to split the line to get them up through here. These, they shouldn't leak, but it's possible. So I got them in a spot where I can check on them very regular and fix if I have to. Lines are running up. They go to where the fuel pump will fuel the big block. Got up here up front working on this line came in spring covered, so I gotta get some new clamps because the old line was just a small line with very small clamps. This is where the proportioning tree will sit, and the main brake line feeding back to the back, which in turn is this line comes down and will feed the A-arms. So I got stainless steel flex lines. It came with the kit that I'll put on there. Hey, what's up? We're gonna start working on finishing up the rear suspension without putting in the spindles and stuff. So what we're gonna work on is we're gonna put the rear strut rods in that go from the control arm to the lower part of the pumpkin, and we'll probably put the coilovers in and just leave it all just loose until we can figure out what we're gonna do with the spindles. But gonna be working on that, so you'll see that here in a few. Okay, we're cleaning up, getting ready. Got to go back to work for a week. So I'll show you what we did on the rear, and that'll be about it for at least a week. We got the coilovers in place. Bottom strut bars are in, they're not tightened up, and they will attach to the back of the spindle and the hub assembly when we get those in. But they'll sit there for right now. We did find that this bushing is cracking really good, so we're gonna go ahead and replace that. Next, I think we'll set the motor in place and the tranny and all that bracketry, and headers, and see how that stuff works. See you next week. Hey, what's up? I think we got a resolution on getting these bearings apart for the C3. I'll show you what I got going on. So I borrowed the tool from Vaughn, a good friend of mine's. What I got is this proto puller. It looks like, you know, your old steering wheel puller, but obviously it's a little bit heavier duty. The arms weren't long enough, so we got some grade A bolts stuck down through the mounting flange, and we'll put her together, see if she works. On top of the threads, I just got this sitting, this inner part of the nut. It's a cap for a hydraulic fitting. It kind of just rotates and stays there, so when the pin pushes down on it, it won't damage the top of the bolt. And also on this puller, this is a nice good bearing point, so it'll turn also. And if I didn't have the nut on there, probably wouldn't damage the threads anyway, but I don't want to take a chance. So I borrowed this tool from Vaughn. He's a good friend of mine. If you're looking for a nice big tool, check out Vaughn. Actually, I already know that this works because I did it yesterday on the other one, and I do know that the Milwaukee 18 volt normal non-fuel version of this impact wrench didn't do a very good job. The Milwaukee fuel stuff, excellent. Excellent tools. Okay, back to the build. Going to look at mounting the brackets and stuff for the transmission and the shifter, so we can hook the bell housing and that to the block, get it set in place with the motor mounts, sit the heads on it, and check our clearance for the Borgeson right here, check our clearance on the headers. Then we're gonna get on this. I gotta figure out, just walk down to the other car, see how these mount for the shocks. And we're starting to put back together these rear stub shaft, whatever you call them, spindle assemblies. And I think that'll be it for a little while. Here's what we got. We got the block, the heads, and the headers set in place. The trannies just set in place. The bell housing, this is a small clutch. We got to get the one for the larger flywheel. So this is just mainly to make sure that we got our clearance on these hookers. I keep hearing they don't fit, but they actually fit. They got a dimple in here already for the clearance. It doesn't touch there. It does touch the frame back up in there. We'll dimple it when we take them back off. Got the carburetors sat in place. And take a measurement from the top of the frame up, see where they're gonna fit under the hood. See what kind of air cleaner we can run. Just really want just a small oval to cover them. But this side has pretty good clearance. Down here on the tip of the pitman arm, it's pretty dang close. I can see the sills and stuff in that may be getting taken out. But it's as far as we got today. I got to go to the auto parts store and get some sills to put the rear spindles together, and maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, now that we're getting close to having the frame done, I think we're gonna start thinking about the body. We got a project basket case down in the other garage, but I was looking at this one today, and the plan is we'll be putting the wide body rear quarters on it. So this one will be going away anyway from the parting line along this fender. You know, we'll be getting rid of that anyways. On what I was thinking was project basket case. In the front end, we have the 69 full front clip from Dynamic Corvettes with the 3-inch flares. The back quarters are 4-inch flares. Obviously this is a convertible, so nothing up there. But my thought was I was gonna try to save this rear fascia and everything because it is a side pipe car, and I was going to use this. Side pipe car means you have no cutouts in this back panel here. So I was going to try to save this tail panel section, the top section, It's got a name, can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. But it wraps around the upper surround for the convertibles. And it comes down to this parting line here. There's a parting line in here somewhere. And what I was gonna do was try to just come, actually, I got a ladder over here. So, what I was thinking about doing was coming up here and separating the upper surround from the tub. The tub looks like shit from the fire, but it is in decent shape. But I was gonna separate it anyways. Separate here, separate all the way around from the tub, and then just take this, separate it at the seam down here along the quarter. But I got to looking, you know, this part would be very hard to separate from the tub. If you was putting them together, probably be pretty easy to glue together, because you just, you know, you got your two separate pieces, the tub and the surround. You come through, put your glue all down, you clamp them together, make sure everything's lined up, you're good. And then replacing this quarter anyways, so then you'd worry about all this stuff. But something that I think is going to save a lot of time is looking at this underneath your tub. You probably can't see very good. Your tub, there's a seam right here that goes all the way forward. So that's the bottom of your tub. Somehow, I'm pretty sure it's going to be possible. This up here, this one, that is where the tub is riveted. Here, to the back part of the bird cage. Bird cage is in here. On the other side, it's in that little area there. Bird cage goes under the door sill all the way up. And this is the burn out front of the door cage, bird cage minus the windshield pillar. That's how I bought this car. It was a totaled case, and this was taken or removed off for the other party to retain their serial numbers and all that. But, so I'm thinking I'll be able to at least take it all apart, unhook the tub from those seams down below, tub sides to the tub floor, and come up here. They are not glued or anything in, but it's going to take some investigation, but I'm actually thinking that's going to be the way to go, because then I don't have to mess with all of this, and I can keep the rear tail panel in place, which with the surround will make it pretty easy to put on the rear quarters. The front end, obviously, it won't be bad at all, but somewhere in here there's a way. Man, that keeps all my body seams and stuff that I got to work on underneath. So I'm actually thinking it's not going to be too bad. With the light on this side, you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. This right here is where the tub sides are separated from the tub pan, just glued together. All that stuff comes apart with heat and shouldn't be too bad. And somewhere back in here, I can either separate it or just do the whole tub. Take the whole tub with me. But some way it's gonna work, and I think it's gonna be easier. Something else, if that don't work, I don't like that. It looks like there's probably a way to separate the rear clip from the fiberglass in here and somehow do the tub too, but it'll work. I got lots of options to do and make it quicker and easier. Well, that's all I got for today. So I think next we're gonna try to get the body up here into the garage and see what that's gonna entail. So talk to you next week.